This Quaker State 400 available at Walmart betting picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here at the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Get up to a $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code RACE SGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and no, you're not seeing things. We are here again for another episode of the show. Figured we had to double up at least one of these days as I'm not available on Friday. And we also wanted to get this bracket show in early enough to where all of you guys could go in and start making your bracket fill outs and picks and all that other good stuff before the contest. But Cody, we are at Atlanta at the EchoPark Automotive Speedway or EchoPark Speedway. One of the two, I don't know. The Atlanta Motor Speedway, whatever, Cody. It's still super speedway racing, and it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be gonna be a change. Getting used to the EchoPark. Is it EchoPark Speedway?
EchoPark Speedway.
Okay, yeah, EchoPark Speedway. But hey, if sponsors want to sponsor anything, it's great. It's always good for the sport. So shout out to them for that. But yeah, definitely gonna be weird not calling it Atlanta. I guess we'll probably still call it Atlanta a lot, but.
But we can't even see that thing. It's not even in Atlanta. Like, it's in Hampton. So there's no reason to call it Atlanta.
Should have never been Atlanta anyways.
That's what EchoPark is saying.
Everything's a lie, Rob.
And you're all a lie. Although I will say that, is it the NASCAR commercial where the people name their kids after whatever, like tanning salon or something? Have you seen that commercial?
Oh, yes. That is great. Yes.
Yeah. Everything's for sale.
Yeah. That's right. We had to sell the Twins naming rights like they do for football stadiums.
I listen.
These days.
I almost feel like I would do that anyways. So like, I'm sorry to my daughters because they would be whatever weird sponsor that wants to sponsor it. So, yeah, that'll be fun. All right, so yes, we are breaking down Atlanta, which obviously is race one of the in-season challenge is what they're calling it, and we're gonna have fun talking about the actual betting for the race, not the in-season. So don't get that twisted. That was last episode. So if you want all that, go back one episode. You'll find it all there. This is for the race itself, but a lot of what we talked about yesterday or last episode blends into today.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely go back and make sure you check that out. We kind of cover what the bracket is, how it's all working, and we go over all of the matchups, which the matchups are for this race because that's obviously the matchups that are determined. And Truth Matters brought up in the chat, maybe I'm just new to this, but it's these crazy matchup lines. Why wouldn't you take the 47 over the 20 at plus 150? It's one car to beat on a super speedway. We did talk about that a little bit. Honestly, the way that I would do it if you have that mindset is just bet all of the plus money head-to-heads. I would bet them the same amount because then you're playing the odds that they're going to end up getting ahead, right? So, we're going to talk about a couple head-to-heads here. Actually, surprisingly, none of the head-to-heads we have are the plus money ones, but we did cover all of that in that show as well. So make sure you go check it out, and you can enter our free bracket contest, which we'll tell you about a little bit more here in just a minute.
Indeed, yeah. And again, a couple of the matchups that I know I picked aren't even ones that are in the bracket at all. So they're ones that are separated from the bracket. So I managed to find one that didn't.
Which does make it fun because we've got the 16 head-to-heads for the bracket. Those are all available on multiple books. I saw 365 just added them, MGM, DraftKings. But But then we also have just the regular race matchups that they would have given us on a normal race week. So a lot of betting options out there this week, which is great.
Yeah, a lot of fun to have and a lot of fun to break down as well. But before we do any of that, I would like to tell you about our friends over at, oh yeah, that's right, it's us. We are running ourselves a fun little contest that we've got going on. It is the NASCAR Gambling Podcast Bracket Challenge, and we are bringing it to you. It's free. Just like everything else in this entire world of SGPN, it is definitely free. If you want to enter, all you got to do is fill out that bracket and take a screenshot of us on your phone. I don't know, send a picture. Figure out a way to get that bracket to us. Write it on a whiteboard and send that picture into NASCARgamblingpodcast.com/NASCAR. There's a place for you to submit it. You'll win a $200 SGPN gift card for first place, a $100 SGPN gift card for second, and then a $50 SGPN gift card for third. Hell, use it for the Race Official to Terror shirts. I don't know what you want to use it for, but there's plenty of great stuff over there right now. So, again, listen to that episode from earlier today. Fill out your bracket. Turn it in. Have a possibility to win some free NASCAR Gambling Podcast, Racing Gambling Podcast merch. It'll be a lot of fun to see what everybody's brackets are, because I already know where mine ends up, and I want to see how your guys' ends up.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ash was wanting to check, make sure we got it. We did from across the pond. You're able to play this as well. So yeah, we did get yours. A couple of brackets already entered in there. So love to see that. A reminder too, and this is actually good for this episode. This race is on Saturday evening. So make sure you get your brackets submitted by Saturday evening when the race happens, as well as all the bets we're about to talk about. Don't wait until Sunday and be like, oh shit, there's no race today, because yeah, it is a Saturday evening race. I think there was only 2 this season in total. So this is one of the few. So just, yeah, that's a good reminder at the top that I forgot to mention on the last show.
Although I will say, if you place all your bets on Sunday, they'll be winning bets, because at least you'll know the outcome for them. So if that's the,
you might struggle to find somewhere to place those bets, but whatever.
Find a bookie that's asleep, like just literally he's all, hey, well, how's that race going on Sunday?
Yeah, that's where you're like, yeah, you just got to pull it up and be like, hey, buddy, I bet you that this guy wins the race, and swindle your friends for money. It's always a good idea.
Listen. I've learned over the course of the last few episodes that people listen to what we say, so maybe we won't advocate for that, but I will say that it's kind of fun, right? It'd be a nice little April Fool's joke in June. All right, anyways, so yeah, we are in Atlanta, obviously coming fresh off of the heels of I guess a controversial Pocono race. I don't know.
It's not. I don't think it's controversial.
But Cody, there wasn't a green flag pass at all. It was all under caution.
Yeah, that's been Pocono for about 30 years. So.
Well, that's what happens with that one. But there will be plenty of passing on Saturday. There will be plenty of strategy on Saturday. There'll be plenty of, I don't want to say plenty of wrecks. Atlanta doesn't really give us all that many wrecks.
That's actually something I wanted to talk about. So we still treat this like a super speedway, right? A drafting track, the popular terminology these days. But in looking at it, the last couple of Atlanta races specifically, it's been less wrecks and chaos. And of course, Talladega was that was the spring race here in Talladega, right, where there was no wrecks, like nobody crashed. So I don't know, it's a little bit torn. It's still a super speedway, and you must treat it as such, and we'll get into all of that. But I think if there's going to be more of a chalky one, this is it. But at the same time, it could be crazy. We could see traditional big super speedway wrecks and crazy chaos. And you're going to get guys that finish up front that you wouldn't normally see, on a regular week-to-week basis.
And to that point, I was actually looking at the total cautions, right? The Caesars is giving you an option for betting total cautions. I think the number was at 9.5, and I think they hit it on the head, because it's been under that for a couple of races, but it was over that for a couple of races before. So it really, I couldn't find an edge on either end of it, especially at minus money. So I left that one alone. But I'll tell you, it really interested me, because I was curious. I was like, well, super speedway, right? And then you look at the first year that this was a super, like 13 cautions, and then it simmered down a little bit. And I feel like that's kind of where we're at, Cody. These super speedway races, we may see a spectacular wreck, but these guys are starting to figure out we shouldn't race to where we cause multiple wrecks.
I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't like. There's still going to be wrecks, right? And we've seen a Talladega race go kind of, and then it's like, oh, is this how they're going to race? And then the next one is like extra crashy just because it can't. So I don't know that they figured it out, and like that speed that close together, there's going to be somebody who makes a mistake. There's going to be somebody who loses the air. I mean, we've seen plenty of these guys the last couple of weeks, even veterans like Kyle Busch and experienced racers like SVG that they just lose it, right? It just goes out from under you. That happens sometimes. You add the draft, you add the fact that this track's already starting to wear since the repave in that Georgia heat. It won't take much, and really all it takes is one, right? One bobble at the front, suddenly you wad up 20 cars, and it changes the complete complexion of everything.
Yeah, and we're bound to see that. I'm looking right now as I feverishly type at the Hampton weather for Saturday. 87 degrees is going to be the high, and partly cloudy. Oh, it's a good thing we're not going. See, you think NASCAR knew? On Sunday, it's calling for rain, 88 degrees and rain. But Saturday, partly cloudy.
Don't jinx it, Rod. Don't jinx it, Rod.
Who was it, Gluck? Did Gluck tweet out? He's like, now it's time to play. Can you guess where the NASCAR race is from the weather radar at Pocono? And literally everything around it was clear, and the one band of green ran straight through Pocono. It was incredible.
That's how it works. Yep.
Yeah,
if you're in a drought, schedule NASCAR to come near you, and you'll be fine.
Okay, well, we need that up here then, because we haven't gotten rain in a little while. All right, we're going to set up this race and have a good time doing so. But first, allow me to introduce you to our friends over at mybookie.ag. We're brought to you by mybookie.ag. Sorry for the cricket noises. I don't have the right thing pulled up. And here it is. This is it. Tell you about my friends at mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet every single sport, including the MLB, WNBA, golf, and of course, football futures. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. You get easy deposit, lightning fast payout using cryptocurrency. I already told you earlier today. I'm going to tell you again. My Ottawa Red Blacks are back. They beat the undefeated Calgary Stampeders last week in a convincing rain-soaked game. And they'll do it again this week against the Toronto Argonauts. They're 2.5-point favorites at home. Give me the Ottawa Red Blacks to bounce back at home against Toronto. -110 is the line over there on mybookie.ag. Head to mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. Fantasy football season is already underway. Drafts are happening, especially for the Scott Fish Bowl. So much going on. You want to be the hero of your league? Enter this contest. Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, giving away the ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Las Vegas and be treated like a VIP for your entire stay. What does that mean? Well, you get a limo ride from the airport, a $5,000 tab for stadium swim, and a hotel stay for you and your 11 league mates. Scratch that, 10. I'm popping in. I don't care who you are. I'm joining your league if you win this. You can always get 15% off, though, at all the Circa properties with promo code SGPN. So get in. Last chance to enter the Circa Ultimate Fantasy Football giveaway is fast approaching. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Circa. That's SportsGamblingPodcast.com/CIRCA. Draft like a champ over there in Las Vegas. There's that episode of The League where they have the Vegas draft, and I would love that. Chad Ochocinco popping in, being part of the draft. That'd be awesome, but yeah.
That would be pretty cool. And I think Sean and Ryan said they would pop in and be part of your draft if you're a listener that wins.
Ooh,
checking in with the chat quick, Rod, old Sour D checking in, says just take Blaney, most due driver here. Impulse saying Ty Dillon is going to win. Sour D wants to know where the Swallow head-to-head is. Come back tomorrow for that. Hopefully they'll keep giving it to us. JDK, Jablonski Automotive is the name of the one kid in that commercial. Ash checking in as well. It was beautiful, wasn't it, Ash? Getting Eckes plus money against Sawallich last week. And Justin Burton starting the John Hunter Nemechek chance early. JDK tossing in some Kyle Larson heat. We'll talk about that in a minute. And Ash says, been lucky this season though, with the weather so far, Daytona was the longest delay before the Pocono. Right? I think that is actually knock on wood, extra wood. Let's get a couple knocks in here, Rod, because it has been a fairly decent season when it comes to weather, and seems like generally we have more issues than we actually have this year.
Yeah, indeed. I know Mexico, weren't we sweating it a little bit, but obviously they had rain tires, so it didn't matter.
But with the rain tires, then it doesn't matter as much. But that's how it goes. Well,
it should be sunny in Hampton, Georgia, where we will take to the EchoPark Speedway for 260 laps around this 1.540-mile paved track for 400 miles of super speedway racing, close-knit, drafting, not trying to wreck people out. However, that's probably going to happen. But, yeah, this will be, again, we're in for some fun. 260 laps. This is a intermediate super speedway type of a situation that they've created.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, it is a mile and a half, like a Kansas, right? Same size track as a Kansas, as a Texas. It's smaller than a Michigan is, but because of the banking, because of the way they changed it, it's made it into a super speedway style of track. They use that tapered spacer. Formerly we knew it as a restrictor plate. Now they've got the tapered spacer, but it's the super speedway package, races like a super speedway in a pack. They can get a little bit more separated here, but it's all drafting and pack racing for sure. So expect that. With that being said, Rod, we give this disclaimer out every time there's a super speedway. You have to bet and you have to treat super speedways completely different when it comes to betting. Each and every week, you should be making your decisions responsibly, all of that fun stuff. But when it comes to super speedways, you have to enter this type of race. I actually have a separate bank. This might be shocking to some of you, Rod. I do actually place the bets that I am able to place in the state where, it's not, I can't just jump on my phone and bet legally, but there is routes, right? You go to the casino, other things. But I have a separate bankroll for super speedways, and it's money that you intend to lose because these super speedway races are crazy and things go wrong, things go crazy, but they're also fun because there's no pressure. This isn't the pressure of a week to week, here we go again, like we lost money, whatever. This is a very relaxed, you're kind of expecting to lose these. You get a lot of fun long shots, you get some good sweats. Corey LaJoie 250-1 that almost cashed for us. But you get those. So just treat a super speedway, a drafting track differently when you bet on it. It's much harder to predict. That being said, right, don't turn it out because we do have some good picks for you coming up because there are still good angles and there's good ways to get in on things and ways to make money. It's just, and really, as we've learned, especially here lately, it's been a bit of a rough spell, right? Betting on NASCAR is not easy. It is tough. And betting on super speedways when one wreck can take out 20 cars more so than on a normal track, it makes it a little more difficult.
Indeed. Ash was saying that weather doesn't look good for Chicago on Saturday, and then Kylie Reynolds checking in saying, I'm from Chicago. Well, Kylie, do a non-rain dance.
You could do some dances to keep. Well, I don't think we've had good weather any of the years in Chicago, right? Which is unfortunate. This will be the last year for that, but hopefully it'll work out. If not, hopefully you got a lot of money on SVG, I suppose. TK probably hoping for that. So
I think so. All right. What is the I think the entry list looks pretty much cut and dry. Yeah, there's a couple of folks to pay attention to. One in particular I know that I got my eye on.
Is there, Rod? Well, there's one in particular that I've got my eye on as well. You've got your 36 chartered cars, of course, entered into this race, driving in the number 01 car for Rick Ware Racing. That's right, friends. He's back. It's Corey LaJoie, fresh out of the Prime booth, ready to go win at Atlanta. He'll be in the 01. It is 40 entries, by the way. David Starr returning in the 66 car. Hopefully it doesn't cost us a lot of fucking money like that one time when he drove like a jackass at Homestead. BJ McLeod is going to be back in the number 78. And the future that's already the present, Connor Zillich, back in the 87 car for Trackhouse. So yeah, it's a full field, 40 cars. They will all make the race, of course. Luckily for 2311. Oh wait, they're still charter cars technically now, so they don't have to worry about that just yet. But yes, they will all make the field.
Indeed. All right, well then, Cody, I guess it is time. We have prepped this race properly, and now we dive in to our picks for this Quaker State 400.
Let's do just that, Rod. Well, in the history of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast, there has been a single commandment. That commandment was fade Kyle Larson at super speedways, and that commandment has made us a lot of fucking money over the years on super speedways. Coming into this season, Rod, Kyle Larson had 47 career starts on super speedways, only 2 top 5 finishes in 47 starts. Now, he didn't get a top 5 at Daytona, but at Atlanta in the spring, he did get a top 5. We talked about it. Not very wrecky race. And in Talladega, also in the spring, a completely non-wrecky race, he gets to the end and he gets a top 5 again. So the updated statistic, 4 for 50 in his career. 50 career starts on drafting tracks in the Cup Series. 4 times he's finished in the top 5. That's 8%, Rod. 8 out of 100 times he's going to finish in the top 5, and he's done it twice in the last 2 races. So this is where you ask yourself, right? Do we keep fading Kyle Larson, or has he figured it out? Well, Rod, I don't think he figured it out. I think we've had 2 pretty clean super speedway races. How likely do you think it is that we get 3 in a row? Probably not very likely. So we're back. We're going to do it again. Fade Kyle Larson. And I'm a little more selective this time, right? There is a matchup out there with Keselowski, but boy, Keselowski's a tough guy to take in a head-to-head. So I left that one alone. I'm backing off a little bit. JDK would like to clarify those were both top 3s. I'm pretty sure that if we use the top 3 number, it would make the numbers look worse. So we could do that, JDK, but we'll stick with the top 5 number where he at least has 4. So still be a little bit more selective, but he's matched up against Denny Hamlin. I feel very confident in taking this. Denny Hamlin, one of the best drivers in the series. Now, Kyle Larson got a 5th place finish here in the spring, Rod. Great finish, right? I told you there's 40 cars entered in this race. There's only 36 full-time cars. In the next gen era, 7 races we've had here at Atlanta. Kyle Larson has the 44th. That's right. There's only 40 cars allowed to race. There's only 36 full-time cars. 44th he is in average finish here at 26.0. He's actually tied with BJ McLeod. So technically you could say he's 45th if you want to, or he's tied for 44th. We'll give him credit for that. Drivers like Landon Castle reside above him. Drivers, now Castle only 1 start, but JJ Yaley resides above him at 4 starts, Rod. So that's pretty solid, right? Greg Biffle. Well, Greg Biffle, he's like in the Hall of Fame, going to the Hall of Fame. Yeah, but that was in the 44 New York racing car, Rod. Better average finish. Eric Almirola, David Reagan. The list goes on and on. Josh Bilicki, 16.0, by the way. Pretty good. But better average finishes than Kyle Larson. So, 1 top 5, okay, fine. But it was a pretty clean race. We didn't really get any wrecks. Again, the thing I will tell you, he's going to look good. And that's why it worked out at Atlanta. That's why it worked out at Talladega. Because he's going to look good. He's great at drafting. He's great at running up front. He looks good throughout the day. And the entire day, you're sweating. You're like, fuck, this guy is actually good at these tracks. He looks good. And then at the end of the race, it always comes down and he gets caught up in the wrecks. Well, if there's no wrecks for him to get caught up in, right? That's how the last 2 races have happened. 8%. That means 92% of the time he's not in the top 5. And, I should break down the top 10 number because they're not great either. He doesn't finish well in these races. 26.0 average finish here. That's heavily weighted by that 5th place finish. If he took that out of there, here's his finishes in the next gen era. You go back to March of 2022, 30th. He did have a 13th in there. 31st, 36th, 32nd, 37th before the 3rd place finish. 4 of those 7 races he has not even finished because he's been caught up in the wrecks. That's part of it. Denny Hamlin, on the other hand, 2nd place finish in the first race here, a 25th, but then a 6th, 14th, 23rd, 24th, 6th. Not all overly impressive, but 6 out of 7 times he has finished better than Kyle Larson. It's minus 110 on this side of it over on ESPN for Denny Hamlin. And I just think that when you're only doing something a small percentage of the time, and when 6 out of 7 times Hamlin's gotten the better of him, it just doesn't make sense. You have to go with Denny Hamlin in this matchup. We're going to fade Kyle Larson again. Look, if he finishes in the top 5 or has a great finish again, I think we will have to truly reconsider when we go to, I believe Daytona will be next at the end of the regular season, and maybe we'll look at things differently then. But until then, he still has to prove it to me, and I don't think that he's proven it to me just yet. One more matchup I want to hit on, Rod. William Byron over Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski, great super speedway racer, but we talked about this a little bit in the bracket episode earlier. He's very checkers or wreckers, right? It's either finish right up front or finish in the back, whereas Byron is much more consistent. You look at his finishes here for Keselowski, 12th, 18th, 2nd, 6th. Still pretty decent runs, but 33rd, 19th, 39th. Those are the last 3 races here. So he's kind of trailed off lately. For William Byron, he's won twice here already. Won the first race. A couple of bad ones, a 30th and a 32nd. Those definitely hurt him. But then 17th, 9th, 27th here in the spring, but still good enough to beat Keselowski, who finished in 39th, one of the few cars that did wreck out of this one. William Byron, we've talked about him a lot this season. He's been a consistent driver. Last week didn't work out, right? That happens. We saw it was hard to pass. He actually passed early in the race, like up 20 spots in the first 10 laps or something. Like he was just cruising the field. I'm like, yes, looking good. Looked great for the DFS lineup. Pit calls, whatever it was later on, things didn't work out for him. That happens. He's been the best driver this year, leading the points and having a solid season, best average finish in the garage. So give me William Byron over an unpredictable Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, and I think, because again, we talked about this in the bracket contest with Brad Keselowski. You can't even take him in the bracket, even if you wanted to, because you just can't count on him being good on a week-to-week basis. So love them both, obviously, for obvious reasons, because you cannot break the first commandment of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast at all, ever. Hence, you will go straight to hell. All right, my head-to-head, this is for you. Every single one of you out there. This one is on you if it doesn't hit, because all season long I have preached against this guy, and all season long, for the most part, I've been right. But you out there, every single one of you that screams to me, "But right, Carson Hocevar is the second coming of Jesus Christ, and we all need to bow down." Fine. Here's my bet on Carson Hocevar this week. Carson Hocevar over Bubba Wallace, -115 in the head-to-head matchup. And I tell you this right now, I do it with a huge reservation. However, when you kind of dig into the numbers, this one does make sense for Carson Hocevar, right? He finished second here in the spring. This is when all of you guys, especially starting 26, finishing second. This is when the chest thumping started for every Hocevarian out there that was like, he is the best.
He should have won that race, Rod. God damn it, if they would have held the caution flag. Motherfucker.
Don't want to hear it. Don't care. Anyways, doesn't matter to me. But Carson Hocevar finished second, right? And I guess he should have won this race. Bubba Wallace finished 9th in the spring here, but outside of that, a 29th place finish in the fall of 2024, a 5th place finish in the spring of 2024. Carson Hocevar is 2 for 3 in beating Bubba Wallace on this track. He did it again in the spring. And in the fall of 2024, Carson Hocevar, his 16th place finish was better than Bubba Wallace's 29th place finish. The only time when he didn't beat him was the very first time Carson Hocevar rode this track in his rookie season. He finished 19th, where Bubba Wallace ended up finishing 5th. So, and then you kind of look at the way that the season's been going for Bubba Wallace. We did say this too, especially after last week. He just looked defeated. And anytime you're watching a Bubba Wallace interview essentially it's after he crashes out of the race, because he's crashed out of 4 of the last 7 races, 4 of the last 7 races he's crashed out of. So it has been very hard sledding for Bubba Wallace lately. And when he has been running, he's been running well, right? He finished Nashville in 6th. He finished Michigan in 4th. He finished Mexico City in 12th. Problem is, you got to get to the end of the race. And unfortunately, I don't know that he's going to get to the end of the race right now. And even if he does, I just don't know how the momentum is going to be for Bubba Wallace when he's, really just in his head. And we talk about AJ Allmendinger being my spirit driver, because that's exactly what happens. He gets in his head and really just hampers his performance and his outcome. But Bubba Wallace, a lot of the same thing, right? And you kind of see that happening, especially having DNF'd as many times as he has. Now, for Carson Hocevar, not going to say his finishes have been making me all that happy with taking this, right? He did finish 18th at Pocono, where everybody said he should have finished better. He started in 3rd. But look, man, it's a team sport too. If you make the wrong pit call, you have to be the driver enough to go out there and improve like other drivers do. You can't just go, oh, well, they made the wrong pit call. Oh, so did somebody else, and he just drove through the field. Why was your driver not doing it? It's neither here nor there. 34th in Mexico, 29th at Michigan. He did finish second in Nashville. Again, I heard the chest thumping. 34th at Charlotte, 26th at Kansas, 24th at Texas. All I'm going to say, I'm taking this matchup for you. If it doesn't hit, you can't come at me saying I made the wrong call. Carson Hocevar, minus 115 over Bubba Wallace.
I really like this play. Interesting way of getting there, Rod. But yeah, it's been tough for Bubba lately, and it's been tough for 23XI. Really, overall, in general, they've struggled a lot. And Hocevar, the results aren't always there, but he's been on his shit. He was good here in the spring. I like it.
Me too. Justin is with me, though. Justin, yes, you have been. Thank you very much. You have been the ride or die.
He's been one of the lone voices in the Discord there, backing you up. Right?
Yeah. TK thought I was gonna switch it up on Ty Gibbs, and then I did.
I'll save that for the outright section.
No, I did though. I did go on Gibbs, right, and he failed us too. So, whatever. All right. That's what happens. That's what happens when I stick my neck out for all of you guys. All right. We're going to get to more of our bets, but allow me to tell you about our friends over at Underdog Fantasy, please. Underdog, Best Ball Mania is happening all summer long, giving away $15 million in prizes, including $2 million to first place. Look, there's no waiver wire. There's no arguments about trades. Best Ball is the best way to play fantasy football, and Cody knows because Cody's probably already got 16,000 best ball lineups in Underdog right now, and it's growing that number. Plus, Underdog also is a great place to play Pick'em, like this one, ladies and gentlemen. It's the 4th of July coming up here very shortly, and we know that the hot dog eating contest is one of the centerpieces of the entire 4th of July experience as an American. And what is more American than watching Joey Chestnut shove wieners down his throat? Well, how many is he going to get down there? Well, Underdog has set the projection at 71.75 hot dogs eaten. That dude always just seems to smash records every time he steps up to the podium and starts eating. So I'm going to take the higher then in this instance. I think this is going to eat like 85 hot dogs this year and just obliterate that projection. So give me Joey Chestnut higher than 71.75 hot dogs eaten this year in the hot dog eating contest. You want to get in on that? Hell yeah, you do. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN. You're going to claim a special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. You've heard us talk about Rhythm 100,000 times before. Well, guess what? They just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has a high ROI. Think a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit a certain range. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean data-backed debts. Download the Rhythm app. Check out Power Trends. Start betting smarter. You know we're going to. Get your 7-day free trial today. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. I was telling you before we jumped on the show that I watched the Joey Chestnut asparagus eating contest out here at our fair, our asparagus festival. I love deep fried asparagus. I had to take a break eating it because just watching that contest made me physically ill. And anytime I looked at a deep fried asparagus spear, I was like, oh, and I stopped. So I'm good now, but that was rough.
I prefer to watch them shoving wieners down their throat, Rod, and I'm just glad that Joey Chestnut's back this year because, I mean, this is America, and it's not really celebrating what America's all about unless Joey Chestnut is just shoving wieners down his throat as fast as humanly possible.
Amen. All right, speaking of, well, I can't even segue out of that. Where are we going next with the bets there, Cody?
Speaking of shoving wieners down their throat, oh, wait, just kidding. The books are shoving a wiener down our throat with the top tens, Rod. They've killed them. Dead. R.I.P. R.I.P. to our sweet princes that once were top tens on super speedways. Look, it's kind of ugly this week, honestly. You know, you look at the bottom of the board, David Starr at 16-1, McLeod at 10-1, Ware at 10-1. You'd be interested in those guys, but really at Atlanta, they've not come close. If it was a Daytona, a Talladega, maybe I could get behind it a little more, but I can't. And even like Ty Dillon at plus 450, I love Ty, but it's not enough to make me want to do it. So I went up a little higher on the board, found two guys that I really, really like this weekend. They're smaller numbers. We're going to go in on those, attack it from this angle. Give me AJ Allmendinger, top 10 plus 250. Talked about him over on the bracket show a little bit ago and how he could make a run. Little peek into it, Rod, but I am writing there's a article for sportsgamblingpodcast.com that's for the in-season tournament. And I did put AJ in there at 80-1 as one of my outrights to take. So make sure you check out the rest of that article when it comes out this evening. But AJ Allmendinger, top 10 this week, plus 250 to advance him along. You look at what he's done here, Rod. He's been pretty damn good, right? He's only got 3 starts in this car on the next gen era, but it's an 11.0 average finish for him, which is actually 4th best of all drivers in the next gen era. And they've been some pretty strong races, right? 16th place here in 2020 in his first start, a 3rd place finish here in the July race later in the season in 2023. And then in the spring here, he ran 14th. Again, that was without any of the chaos, right? Just a normal regular race. Finds his way near the top 10. That's what you're looking for. Plus 250, I like that. And Justin Haley, another guy that I really, really like this week. Plus 280 for his top 10, Rod. He checks in 13th in average finish, 14.9 in his 7 starts. But not only is it 14.9 in his 7 starts, it starts with Spire, with Rick Ware, with Colleague. He's been all over the place and done really well. You go back to March of 2022, the first start here in a Colleague car, 11th place run in that 31 car. Then he followed it up with a 7th place run in July of 22. 22nd in March of 23, but 8th in July of 23. And then 2024, a 20th place in the Rick Ware car. And then he followed it up with a 12th place finish in the Rick Ware car as well. And then 24th this spring, left something to be desired. But again, less chaos. Maybe he needs a little bit more of that. And it's been a slow start to the season for the Spire team, for the 7 car, that is. Obviously, his teammates have shown some speed, specifically in Hocevar. This is a great opportunity at a track he's good at. Very good drafting track driver. Remember in the Xfinity Series, Austin Hill is all the talk these days, but Justin Haley had that streak of 3-4 drafting track races or Daytona race. I don't remember what it was exactly, but really, really good over there in those. And I think that, he's in play for a top 10. He's done it in multiple different teams, multiple not great cars, in one of the better rides he's been in, if not the best ride he's been in, really, honestly, this year. So, the spring race, Rodney Childers, that didn't work out. We're past all that. So give me Mr. Haley at top 10, rather, plus 280. And then Ash checking in with those good Bovada odds. Again, if you've got that and access to that, plus 350 for AJ Allmendinger, 4-1 for Justin Haley. So get up on that.
I love that. I mean, I love AJ Allmendinger, obviously top 10. We talked about him being a overlooked super speedway driver too. And
JDK too, saying he's been better in the second Atlanta race. If you notice, as I read through those, right, 22 7th, 23 8th, 24 12th. So he's been, still good in some of the spring races, but his 3 best finishes, or 2 of his 3 best finishes rather, are in the fall race, and they've all been 12th or better. So that second time around, getting there, it's hotter. The track's going to handle a little bit different. I like that. And average finish of 9th as JDK breaks it down there in those 3 Atlanta number 2 races, aka EchoPark Speedway.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. We have the smartest listeners in all of the NASCAR betting space. Gotta love it. So smart, in fact, that they're going to jump all over this Ryan Blaney number. When I first started putting the card together, there were only top 3s, and so I grabbed a couple of top 3s, and then I started to look further down at top 5s, top 10s, and I was like, well, these are trash. So I'm just going to keep my top 3s because, honestly, those are the better numbers, and the 2 drivers that I have down for top 3s are golden, and I think are going to be better as a top 3 car than a top 5 car. Now, also, disclaimer, okay, because I feel like I have to explain this again. It's been a while since we talked about this. If I give somebody out for a top 3 bet, that means that you can feel comfortable betting them at a top 5 or a top 10 if those numbers are numbers you are comfortable with. Our job is to identify what we feel is the best value for you. However, value is subjective. You are your own person. Bet at your own comfort level. Me, Blaney top 3 plus 250 sounds like a fantastic number. When you look at Ryan Blaney at this EchoPark Speedway, formerly known as the Atlanta Motor Speedway, his name is at the top of the list when it comes to next-gen speed rankings, according to our friends over at iFantasy Race. He is tops, 7.7 average speed rank in the next-gen era at Atlanta. His next-gen averaging finish, he's first there as well, too. 6.7 average finish in the next-gen era on this track, right? So we're talking 17th in 2022 in the spring, 2022 in the fall, 5th. And then he goes on a pretty nice streak of top 10 finishes. 5th, 7th, 9th, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Again, average finish 6.7. The next best, Chase Elliott at 10.5. However, Chase Elliott missed a race in 2023 here, and since then finished 13th, 15th, 8th, and 20th. So you want to talk about, the next distant guy, then that's it. But for Ryan Blaney, look, when his name's plastered all over this racetrack as being one of the top drivers on this track, I feel like it's very difficult. And of course, we talk about too the instability of a super speedway race. However, Ryan Blaney's been able to stay consistent amidst all of the madness of a super speedway type drafting race, right? He's on a top 10 streak right now and a pretty decent top 5s in that midst as well. So he's been able to stay consistent. And for a guy who just finished 3rd at Pocono last week, won at Nashville a couple of weeks ago, finished 3rd at Kansas, 3rd at Texas, 5th at Bristol, 5th at Darlington. He had problems before that with a 36th at Homestead, 35th at Vegas, but he did finish 4th here in the spring. I'm just saying, Ryan Blaney is on a pretty solid streak where now it feels like he's starting to get out of whatever that cloud that was covering him in Charlotte and Michigan were, and he's coming back to a track that he's consistent at and good at and likes. Yeah, I think the top 3 at this number at plus 250 is a good steal for Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, hard to argue too much with how successful he is at this track in particular, along with just on super speedways in general. The Expert Suck says, so Ryan Blaney car lift of the week again. They've been running that a lot lately. If you want to stick to the Expert Suck, you probably got to change that because Rod's on it. But clearly, it must be a good car lift if Rod likes it that much.
Oh, no. He doesn't have to change it because he's absolutely correct. I do, and I own that. Like, I don't ever claim to be anything more than I am, right? Which is a talking bag of wind. So don't take me seriously if you don't want to.
Talking bag of wind. Laura checks in, says, cheers, guys. Laura, how's it going? Thanks for joining us. Boji Joe checking in as well. He's on the Ross Chastain car lift. Ross Chastain, not a guy that's going to come up today on this show, Rod.
No, unfortunately, it's not. It's not. But,
And actually, we kind of went against him in the show earlier, too. Go back and check that out.
We did. All right. Cody, who do you got next?
I'm going to head over to, we got to kind of search around, find some stuff, right? We don't have all these top 10s to hit. They ruined it, right? So, fastest lap market. This is a market that's still newer. We're still untouched a little bit. You can get bigger long shot odds, stuff that, and this shit, you don't even need to make it to the end of the race. You could do some of this stuff without, get caught up in the wreck at the end or get shuffled out. Who cares? It's about getting it done throughout the race, which I kind of like about this market. So we're going to start off with the fastest lap of the race, right? They got that little purple clock that goes up and down. Xfinity fastest lap of the race. Michael McDowell, 11-1. McDowell and his team at Daytona had gotten some trouble early, right? He was laps down. They hung out in the back and tailed the draft perfectly to get the fastest lap. He was actively trying, and his team was actively trying to get that extra point for the fastest lap. Why would they not keep doing it? Because we've seen it multiple times. We saw him try to do it at Talladega. I don't remember if he got it there or not. I did not look that one up right in front of me, but he tried it at Daytona, got it. He tried it at Atlanta. It was taken away from him late in the race, but they are actively going to try to do it. 11-1. Why not, right? I like that. And then AJ Allmendinger, we talked about just a minute ago, 14-1. Right, if you go back to the spring race here, AJ Allmendinger, Xfinity fastest lap of the race. Why couldn't he do it again? Look, he's a great driver. He's going to be in good position, knows what he's doing. I like that. Then you can also bet over on DraftKings the most fastest laps in the race, which they track. You go back to the spring race here. It's very simple, right? I just went back to the spring race. I'm just going to rinse and repeat. If it happened then, why couldn't it happen now? Ricky Stenhouse had the most fastest laps with 14. He's 30-1. Why not, right? Stenhouse is a great super speedway guy, great drafting track guy. We don't have to worry about him making it to the end, getting caught up in something, whatever. If he does late in the race, it doesn't matter. Go out, lay down some fastest laps throughout the race. You know, he's probably not going to start up front. He's going to start farther back, which is going to give him opportunities to get in drafts, get big drags, run some good fast laps. Had 14 here in the spring, which was the most. Let's run it back with him and just kind of dabble in this fastest lap market a little bit more. It's a newer market, a little bit, haven't done a ton in it, and harder, I think, on a regular track to throw some darts at maybe, and maybe we just need to look at it more. But at a super speedway here where anybody can do it, you've got guys that are actively trying to do it in a McDowell, guys that need points in an AJ Allmendinger, and a guy like Stenhouse who just did it in the spring. I like these three guys for fastest lap. For McDowell, 11-1, fastest lap for AJ at 14-1, and then most fastest laps for Stenhouse at 30-1.
If you want further proof that anybody can get the most fastest laps on this particular track, you go back to the spring of 2024 where Josh Berry gave you 12 fastest laps in this race, and that's Josh Berry. That's Josh Berry that everybody's sort of buried at this point after him pumping his head up earlier in the season, making us all very hopeful of a good Josh Berry season. So gotta love that. Sam Smith saying my bracket praise Blaney finishes top 3 right behind Carson Osavar. That's not bad, yes. I suppose.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. Sam, by the way, newest Discord member, so shout out to him. Oof. If you want to join, Rod, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord, or hit us up on the X or whatever if you need some help getting over there. Also, if you shoot me a message on Discord or X or whatever, I can go in and verify you once you're in so that our AI doesn't get too aggressive and mute you early like it tends to do. But yeah, shout out to Sam for joining the community over there, Rod.
Indeed. Also want to say hello to Laura. She did pop into where did you guys? Oh, cheers, guys. Cheers, Laura. And then, of course, her, Boji Joe, and everybody else in the chat, as you always do, pop in. I love it. Is Carson the new Ross? Boji Joe wants to know. I think Ross is still Ross is Ross. Carson is the new Carson.
He's somewhat evened out, I suppose. But yeah, Carson is very similar to what Ross was. Comes in, hot-headed, needs to learn a few things, but aggressive, doesn't care. He's worked hard for it. I like the comparison. Both race for Nice in the trucks.
I don't, because I actually like Ross. But all right, speaking of Ross, how about his teammate, Daniel Suarez? Top 3. Okay, this I had to blink twice because I thought maybe Caesars was being held hostage because I'm not quite sure, and maybe you want to double check because I don't know if it's still there, but Daniel Suarez, top 3, 7-1. Now, what I should have done, and this is bad radio, I should have said to you, I'm going to read you the finishes for a driver, and I would like you to tell me what you think his top 3 numbers should be. I will read you a number, and you figure out whether or not he should be 7-1 for a top 3. All right? If you go back all the way to 2022 in the spring, Daniel Suarez, 4th place finish. In the fall, 6th place finish. I get it. I know it's not a top 3, neither one of them, but still. Daniel Suarez to finish inside of the top 5, inside of the top 6. It's always something good when Daniel Suarez does it because he doesn't do it very often. And then 2023 in the spring, he finished 29th. But the next 3 races in Atlanta, 2nd in 2023 in the fall. He wins the spring race in 2024, and then he finishes 2nd in the fall race in 2024. Now, maybe what the books are saying is, well, but he did crash out of the spring one, and that therefore he should not be considered a good bet for a top 3 finish this particular. Well, I call BS on that because look, he came back from a 29th place finish to finish 2nd in the next following race that year. So he crashed out in the spring, DVP'd in the spring of 2023, came back to finish 2nd in the fall. So I like his chances to come back again and finish in the top 3 in this particular race. Something about Atlanta, and there it is, JDK Suarez 2 for 3 top 2s in Atlanta too. I guess there's no better stat than that for it because, again, if somebody punches you in the face twice in a row, you're ducking the 3rd because you pretty much think they're going to connect again. And I feel like that's where we're at with Daniel Suarez. And for 7-1 for a top 3, now, again, it's 7-1. That means that there's probably a large possibility that it may not happen, but we're not chasing a finish at this. Something he's done 2 times already in the fall race. How can I break that down anymore for you? I won't. I'll just tell you that I believe a 3rd place finish is in the cards for Daniel Suarez. 7-1, outstanding odds for that.
Yes, wrecks happen and things can go sour, Rod. We do know that. But yes, this is a good bet. Suarez has been amazing here. I've got more thoughts on Suarez here in a little bit, so I will save those. I'm going to go back to the top manufacturer market. This is another place where, again, kind of in place of that top 10s where we're not getting great odds. This is a good opportunity to do that. And honestly, you don't even have to finish in the top 10 necessarily to cash some of these bets. Going back to the Legacy Motor Club bros, Rod. Eric Jones, 12-1. John Nemechek, 18-1. Sign me up for both of these guys. If you just go through and you look at the average finish at Atlanta in the next gen era, 7 races, there's not a lot of Toyotas near the top of this. You got to scroll down. Christopher Bell, 14th on the board, 15.3. So, not overly standing out. Eric Jones is actually the next Toyota on the board, 17.0. Then you just got to keep scrolling. Truex, but he doesn't race anymore, right? Yeah, Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, those guys are way 31st, 32nd. So not a ton of Toyotas that really jump off the board to you. Where was Denny? Did I skip Denny Hamlin? Oh, he's 23rd, so also farther down than Eric Jones as well. But for Eric Jones, we know how good of a super speedway racer he can be. Legacy's started off the season good, right? They had great runs of the Daytona 500. Johnson got the top 5, and John Nemechek was up there as well. The last 3 have been rough for Jones here in Atlanta. I will say that. 31st, 26th, 25th. But he started out really good here. 14th, 4th, 8th, and 11th in his first 4 starts. So I feel like, those last 3, okay, fine. But that was kind of that. Actually, those were the 3 races we switched to Toyota. It's giving them some time to figure out the Toyota stuff. But now they've figured out the Toyota stuff. I'm not as worried about it. If it was just they're still plugging along and since they switched to Toyota, it's been bad. Okay, maybe that's an argument, but now they've figured out the Toyota stuff. Now they're having success on a week-to-week basis. I like it. And again, Toyota is just a smaller group in a general sense, so you get less cars you have to beat to cash this. For John Nemechek, 23rd, 21st, 33rd in his first 3 starts here. Not great, but figured it out here in the spring. 10th place finish, top 5 back at the Daytona 500. He is on fire right now, right? Back-to-back top 10 finishes. Had a top 5 in Mexico. Another great run last week at Pocono. And Paul, man, really, yes, he was the 3rd finishing Toyota last week at Pocono, but being inside of the top 10 at the end of the day, when you got 100-1 for top Toyota, unfortunately, we're not getting that number this week. It's only 18-1, but still worth betting, I do believe. So, and then we're going to switch over to the top Ford market, Rod, where again, it's just kind of up in the air, right? Ryan Blaney, the clear-cut Ford favorite. He is the best average finish here in the 7 races at 6.7. You just highlighted why he might finish in the top 3, but if he doesn't get it done, Logano's at 13.4, Cindric's at 14.3, but their odds are just all so watered down at the top. So where can we go? Where can we find some guys that you kind of like, that we think can get good finishes here? Chris Buescher, one of those guys. It's been actually not overly great for Chris Buescher here, is I guess the way we'll put it. 30th here in the spring, 36th here last fall, 2 other finishes at 35th and 33rd. So if he goes out and he wrecks and he has a bad day, you can't say that's overly unexpected. But he's also hit before. 7th place here in 22, a 9th place here last spring. So he can have those good runs. He did lead 39 laps in July of 23 here before he ended up suffering a 15th place finish. Not the worst of all days, but he's got that upside in him. We've seen him do it at Talladega. We've seen him do it at Daytona. He can have those good runs. And I think at plus 850, that's a good number. Then we're going to go to his teammate, right? RFK has been pretty strong lately. I made a bit of a case against Keselowski earlier, but more so just because he's inconsistent. His number also kind of high here. But Ryan Preece, his teammate, 15-1. When these RFK cars, look, if these 3 RFK cars hook up and get together, we've seen Buescher and Brad literally run away at drafting tracks, and they can get it done. So, if they're able to do that, great. Preece has been not too bad here, right? He's been okay. Just 5 starts for him, 28th, 24th in Stewart-Haas cars, 26th last year in a Stewart-Haas car, and then 18th in the fall, and 18th again here in the spring. So just 16, 18, 18, kind of hanging around, doing his thing. But we've seen an improved Ryan Preece this year. He's been a lot better. I think the Ford group is open up enough. You have to worry about the Penske Fords, right? The three specifically, you could sort of toss Barry in there, but we talked about that during the Atlanta race. He's not been overly great. In the past, he switched to Penske. Maybe that's going to be different. But the Penske Fords, you definitely have to worry about a little bit. But if they mess up or if they have an issue, these RFK Fords could be good. And a plus 850 for Buescher, 15-1 for Preece. I think they're worth betting on.
Yeah, we talked a lot about RFK too in the bracket episode as well, and I think let's see. Yep, 17 is written down, so I think he's in for a good run. Will it be a top Ford? No, you never know, and that's really the great part about this, because it could be all the Penske Fords linking up, all of the RFK Fords linking up, and if that happens, especially at the front toward the end, anything can and will usually happen. So can't argue with you on either one of those. So I know that somebody said now, I think it was Boji Joe saying now is the time to take the winning car number. I'm going to stay away from that, but only for personal reasons. And also because I know that this odd is the preferred side of this at plus money, but I'm still not necessarily sold that I think that's it. So I will go to a market that we don't normally go to and that we don't normally get offered, and that is the most laps led by any driver. 90.5 is the number that is set for this. I'm going to take the underside of this at minus 115. I know it sounds counterproductive because it's a super speedway and somebody can jump out and nobody wants to. The problem is nobody wants to lead on these tracks anymore because the fuel saving and everything that happens, nobody wants to lead. Everybody wants to be second. Everybody wants to, everybody wants to not have to be the one to save all that fuel out the front. So we're seeing a lot more lead changes. We're seeing a lot more drivers not really, or just at least sitting back in second place and being okay with it. So this is what happens. Last year or earlier in the spring, the most laps went to Joey Logano at 83. He led the most. The next second one was Josh Berry at 56, Austin Cindric at 47. The year before that, Austin Cindric led 92 laps. I know that's more than 90, but the next best person was Ty Gibbs at 37. So you take a couple of those laps away from Austin Cindric, again, somebody wasn't pushing Austin hard enough, and he ended up leading 92 laps. That's fine. But the year before that, Todd Gilliland, 58 laps led. The next best person was Austin Cindric at 32. So this is going back to the spring of 2024. And then before that, in the fall of 2023, in the July race, 46 laps, Eric Almirola. Here's the thing, okay? Only once in that span did they go over 90 laps, and that was 92. Other than that, it has been a huge, this isn't even like, okay, well, it's 85, it's 80. 86 in one of them, but we're talking like 30, 40 laps shy of this number. And maybe what they are wanting you to do is take a look at that 86 from the spring. They're wanting you to take a look at the 92 from the previous race there and be a little bit scared. But don't be a little bit scared, right? Yes, you could get a 2023 and Better Health 400, the spring race at Atlanta, where Logano dog walked the field and 140 laps he led in that particular race. Or you could get where Chase Elliott led 96 in 2022. Or you could get William Byron leading 100 laps in the spring of 2022. But I will tell you this, they were figuring things out in those first 3 or 4 races on this track, right? They had to get all their data. They had to figure out fuel. They had to figure out everything because it was a brand new track to them, essentially. Well, they got it figured out. And like I said, nobody wants to lead. Everybody is okay just riding in second, riding in third, riding in fourth, and waiting for the time to duck out and take that shot. And again, the leaders don't want to lead, so they'll find a way to peel off and to sort of give the lead back away. So, again, to me, this is taking the trends and rolling with them, but not being afraid of the outlier, right? Because there's always going to be an outlier. There's always going to be that one race where somebody leads 90. Austin Cindric leads 92 laps, right? But he could have led 90. He could have led 89 if somebody else would have jumped up on that one. So, like I said, I like this market. I think I'm going to take a stab at it. Most laps led under 90.5, minus 115 over on Caesars.
And to kind of bring this back full circle, we had that, spring race, nice and chill, second race of the season. We're all just riding around. There's only a couple of races left in the regular season, Rod. There's only a couple of spots left in the playoffs for winners. People are going to be a lot more desperate in this race. This is one of two races where anybody can win, right? We've got this race and we've got Daytona. People are going to get aggressive. They're going to try to get to the front quicker. That might lead to more wrecks, which could be good for some of these bets, right? But also, I think that's going to lead to people being more aggressive, trying to get that track position, get out front, and we're going to see the lead change hands more often. And Caesars is where that line is at. That's where Rod pulled that from, as Sam was asking there. So, yeah, I do actually really like this one a lot because I think that some good points there by you. And then also this desperation and stuff could help as well.
I agree. All right, no sound effect, but Cody, I believe it is time for one of everybody's favorite time of the day.
Beep, beep, beep. That's right, Rod. It's the Corey LaJoie car lift. You think we're going to Atlanta where we had a 250-1 outright before it was cool to bet on Corey LaJoie? He's leading with 2 laps to go. Unfortunately, he got shoved into the wall by Chase Elliott. RIP. We did not cash that bet, but the sweat was there. Sometimes, Rod, the sweat of a bet is just as good as cashing the bet if you're doing it the right way. Take some notes, people. But Corey LaJoie car lift, this is a perennial play for me when it comes to super speedways. It does not always cash. He finished 38th here in the spring, got involved in a wreck, so you have to understand that. But there have been many times where he has hit the top 10. He's hit the top 5. He's hit the top Chevrolet a couple of times for us in the past when he was driving the Chevrolets. Obviously hasn't won yet, but within 2 laps of winning, he's had some great runs. He's made enough money over the years on super speedways to pay for the losing weeks. We're getting right back in. So we're going to take the top 10 to 80, top 5, 10-1, top finishing 4 to 28-1. So now you got Buescher, now you got Priest, now you got LaJoie as well as a longer shot. 60-1 to win the race, Rod. It's not the 250-1 that it once was. But what's he done for us, right? Go back to 2022. The 7 Spire Motorsports car in 2022, a much different car than it is today. Much worse at that point in time. 5th place run. He came out. He looked good, looked solid. Comes back in the fall, leads 19 laps. This is it. Roddy's bat 2 laps to go. He's leading the race. And then Elliott puts him in the wall. Elliott goes on to win. Finishes 21st, but with 2 laps to go, he was in the motherfucking lead right there. Comes back in the spring of 23, 4th place finish. Then sometimes things go sour, right? 31st in July of 23, but comes back last year in the spring, 15th place finish, or 13th place finish rather, and in the fall, 15th place finish. He's hanging around, having good runs. Didn't go well for him in the spring here with the 38th place finish. Shit happens, but you got to keep riding it. Corey LaJoie, he made me a fan a long time ago when he started cashing some of these tickets. Got the good sweats out of him. Yeah, Corey LaJoie car lift, top 10 all the way to the win, riding the whole thing.
Beautiful. Boji Joe says best hair in NASCAR. Laura says, Joel, that's Daniel Dye. Not anymore, Laura. He cut his hair, and it's...
Corey cut his too, which was a bit unfortunate.
Yeah.
Still a beautiful man, I will say, Rod.
Indeed. TK asking, is this Cody's equivalent to JJ for Rod? No, because he's not.
He's not like the GOAT, but it's also like first of all, he's a good driver, like just a good dude. If you listen to Stacking Pennies, he's good personality. Prime, he's really showcased how cool. Showcased? He's really showcased how cool he is on Prime the last couple of weeks, right? Hanging out with Carl Edwards, drinking here with Dale Jr. after the deal. But he's looked great, and he's a great dude. And he's cashed. I think I got him once at 35-1 for the top Chevy. Think of all the Chevys in the field. Kyle Larson's and Chase Elliott. Top Chevy, he was cashing top 5s. All of these Atlanta, I read them to you, right? A 5th, a 4th, a leading with 2 laps to go that should have cashed. Those, you had the top 10 bets. You had the top 5 bets. Good runs by him. He's cashed these tickets enough times to make it worth it.
I love it. I love the passion. That's what I love the most. All right. My next bet is a market we don't get very often either, and that is the starting grid position of the winner. That is over on Caesars as well. It's set at 12.5. So outside of the top 12 at minus 115, I'm going to take the over on this one. 3 of the last 4 winners on this track have come from outside of 12th place. In the spring, the last race we had here, Christopher Bell crossed the finish line in first. Guess where he started? 32nd. Yeah, he came from the back of the pack, ended up winning this race. Joey Logano ruined it for us. He started 7th, finished first. But before that, Daniel Suarez started 23rd and finished first in the 2024 spring race. In the fall 2023 race, William Byron won this race and started in 18th place. Now, of course, you got guys like Joey Logano that won from the pole in 2023, and then Chase Elliott did it the year before, or the race before that in 2022 when he won from the pole as well. William Byron started 12th in 2022 and ended up winning this race. But like I said, right, the thing is, these guys, they were feeling that out, and I don't know that a lot of people had really gotten the gist of this track yet, but in the last 4 races, we have seen guys move through the field and pick the right spots. And now they got the data. Now they know what lap they need to make that move, how many times they have to hang back, how long do they have to run at 80% before they finally hit the full throttle and get after it, right? So these guys, they don't mind starting in the middle of the pack. They don't mind starting toward the middle of the starting grid, because they know that they can make up those spots and they know that they can end up winning. And like I said, 3 of the last 4 winners have come from outside of the 12th place starting position. And I really, like I said, I really feel like that's a trend that can continue, because nobody's scared of qualifying in the back anymore. And everybody knows that you can, if you do it right, if you play the strategy right, if things go in your direction, you can win from anywhere on the field. So, and Christopher Bell proved that to us in the spring. So I like the number, and I like the odds for it. So give me the starting grid position of the winner at 12.5 over that at minus 115.
Yeah, I like this because a couple of things, right? If you take the underside of this, you only get 12 cars. Taking the over, 27, right? I know that, something like that. It's close enough. 28, well, 12, yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm close enough. You get a lot of fucking cars. That's the point. We don't have practice this week because the super speedway, it wouldn't matter anyways. So we don't have that to overreact to. But don't overreact to bad starting positions from anybody this week. It does not matter where you start. They will be able to make up positions. You can go from the back to the front. You can go from the front to the back. Yes, it's not as easy as it used to be. Yes, it's not tandem draft or whatever. You still easily can find your way up there. Don't worry about it. This gives you way more cars in the field, and you're probably going to end up with some pretty good drivers that just don't qualify well, and you're going to get them starting farther back out in the back. I like this play.
Indeed. All right, well then, speaking of winners, Cody, who's going to win this race?
Well, Rod, as we do on super speedways, we take a unit or two, however you want to do it, you spread it out, a little bit longer shots. That's what we're doing here. Chase Elliott is 18-1 on BetMGM. This is a bit of a misprice. He is a lot shorter everywhere else. Ryan Blaney has the best average finish here. Chase Elliott, second on that list with an average finish of 10.5. He's been extremely good on this track. Of course, he's won here, Rod, because he dumped Corey LaJoie to do so. But he led 96 laps that day, did get the win, was the dominant car. 6th place, the win, 13th, 15th, 8th, 20th in his in his 6 starts here. Yes, that's right. But he's got the win. He's got multiple good finishes. He's been a strong driver here. We've seen him be good at super speedways. You're getting the guy with the second best average finish at 18-1. It just doesn't seem right. Daniel Suarez, your guy, Rod, 28-1 over on DraftKings. I really don't know what they're doing. You highlighted him early. He has been amazing here. 3 of the last 4 races, he's been inside of the top 2. 7 starts here in the next gen era. 5 of them 6th place or better. Daniel Suarez constantly in competition to win this race, in contention at the end. If you're telling me I can get a guy at 28-1 that's going to be in the top 6 in the closing laps of this race, sign me the fuck up. He's great at this track, always runs well here. 2 races he didn't, right? Got in a wreck, had a bad, actually got in a wreck both times he didn't finish well. It's going to happen on super speedways, but I absolutely love Daniel Suarez. AJ Allmendinger, we talked about him earlier. Very underrated super speedway guy, 65-1. And again, he's the fourth. You get in the second, third, and fourth best average finishes of these guys at long numbers where they shouldn't be. 65-1 for AJ. He's a guy that if he can get up there, put it in position, he can get it done. John Hunter Nemechek at 70-1. We've talked extensively about him. Just in love with the kid right now. Going to ride it. And Justin Haley, 80-1. Talked about him a little bit earlier as well. Some really good finishes here. Strong super speedway drafting track driver, right? This is one where, some of these guys at the end, John Hunter Nemechek, Justin Haley, you're probably going to need a little bit of help, right? If all 40 cars finish this race, probably not going to win, although I wouldn't completely count it out. But if we start to get some attrition, they can get through it, put themselves in the right spot with these longer numbers. How many clean super speedway races are we going to get in a row as we get closer to the playoffs? All this stuff on the line. I like having some longer shots in the arsenal.
Yeah, and really, again, if you look at who's won this race in the super speedway configuration, right? It's been William Byron that's won multiple. It's Joey Logano that's won multiple. But other than that, Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez, Christopher Bell, right? These guys have kind of mixed it around other than Byron and Logano. And when you look at the odds, kind of reflects that. Logano plus 950, Byron 12-1. You're okay taking either one of those. That's fine. Again, we don't have to explain to you why Ryan Blaney, Austin Cindric, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, these guys are the favorites for a reason. And if you're a seasoned NASCAR watcher and a seasoned NASCAR bettor, we don't have to make a case for them because they're already there. So we're here to tell you, yes, you can bet those guys with confidence if you feel like it. And we're not telling you that they're not going to win this race because obviously the odds say they are and records say they are. Ryan Blaney, 8-1 on Caesars. It's actually not a bad idea. Like, I like it. It's not going to make my card officially because I already brought him up as a top 3 car, which means I feel confident he's going to be in the front, which means at 8-1, it's worth a stab, especially at super speedway numbers. Problem is, it doesn't always work out the way it is, and Ryan Blaney doesn't win at this racetrack in the next-gen super speedway era, right? So you got to look elsewhere. All right, fine. Well, now I'm going to go for a complete long shot like Cody, and I'm going to take my shot on a kid who, look, it's probably not going to win. Zilich, 60-1, okay? Probably not going to win. But we've seen crazy things happen. We've seen Ricky Stenhouse win at a super speedway. We've seen Justin Haley win at a super speedway. We've seen Austin Cindric win at a super speedway, right? We've seen these things happen. Rookies and young kids that have no business winning a race outside of a super speedway win a super speedway race. Why? Because they find the right line at the right time. They run a clean race, and they just happen to be where they are. Look at his teammates. We're talking high about Daniel Suarez, right? Daniel Suarez is one of those guys that is his teammate this week. Really good. And if he keeps in linking up with him, he may be the one to actually take the win from Daniel Suarez. Who knows? Ross Chastain could accidentally find his way up there as well. Chevys, there's a lot of them. All you got to do is stick with them and be the right Chevy in the right line at the right time. 60-1 is a long shot, much like all these other ones that we're giving out. But we've seen long shots win. I mean, Cody talked about Corey LaJoie being the longest of long and being a couple laps away from winning until Elliott dumps him. So it's not out of the question. It's just a very different question that you're asking in this case. So I believe that if we're going to take a shot on a long shot as well, I think Connor Zilich is in good enough equipment to get it done. He hasn't had all that much success in the Cup Series so far at all, or Xfinity Series on the super speedway races. Unfortunately for Connor Zilich this year, it's been kind of rough on super speedways. Crashed out at Daytona, finished in 27th, and Atlanta he finished 34th, crashed out. First 2 races of the season, right? We're pretty high on him, and he ends up crashing out on both of them, the super speedways. Came back to Talladega, crashed out 27th. Well, maybe he's learned something. Maybe he's sat in the sim long enough to where he can get that equipment up to the front, and who knows? Maybe he can win the race at 60-1.
Yeah, I actually don't really have any argument from it, and it's not that crazy. We saw Parker Retzlaff come in that 62 car and be really close to winning. That was last year, wasn't it? I mean, it's not crazy to see some of these longer shot guys. And again, probably going to need some help. You're probably going to need a wreck or 2 or 3. Suddenly, second overtime, cars are dropping right and left, right? He gets a good push on a restart, gets the white flag, caution comes out. Oh, Zilich win. Like, there might be some other places for it to work out. But he could certainly do it, and he's a great young driver. Boji Joe wants an SVG shout out. I think it was Dale Jr. that was saying he's more ready for, or no, it's Denny Hamlin rather, that was saying he's more ready for ovals than SVG was last year. So, yeah, love this kid.
Indeed. All right, get out your pen and paper, folks. We are going to go over our bets for this Quaker State 400, available at Walmart. And we start with, oh, yeah, by the way, if you are watching on YouTube, time to screenshot. Thank you, Cody, for getting the graphic ready. We didn't have to fire any interns today.
I'm not always a man of the people, Ross.
You certainly are.
As has been well documented, but sometimes I can save face.
I started you out with Carson Hocevar over William Wallace. Yes, over what's his face, Mel Gibson. No, Carson Hocevar over Bubba Wallace at -115. That's on you, folks. If this doesn't happen, it's on you. It's not me. Ryan Blaney, top 3 car, +250. Daniel Suarez, top 3 car, 7-1. Most laps led by a driver, 90.5. I'm going to take the under on that one at -115. I'm going to take the starting grid position of the winner over 12.5 at -115. And Connor Zilic, my long shot pick for this race. Cody gave you Denny Hamlin over Kyle Larson, -110. William Byron over Brad Keselowski, also -110. AJ Allmendinger, a top 10 car at +250. Justin Haley, a top 10 car at +280. He's picking McDowell to have the fastest lap of the race at 11-1. AJ Allmendinger to have the fastest lap of the race at 14-1. Or Stenhouse to have the most fastest laps at 30-1. Picking Jones and Nemechek, them legacy boys, at 12-1 and 18-1 as top Toyota. Top Ford, the RFK guys, Chris Buescher, 8.5-1. Ryan Preece, 15-1. Taking the Corey LaJoie car lift one more time. Top 10, +280. Top 5, 10-1. Top Ford, 28-1 to win, 60-1. And then Cody's got Elliott at 18-1. Suarez at 28-1. Allmendinger, 65-1. Nemechek at 71. Haley at 80-1 to win the Quaker State 400.
Yeah, I don't really like how you said one more time, implying that's the final time I'll be betting the Corey LaJoie car lift, Rod.
I'm sorry.
Inaccurate information.
One more time for now. He'll be sad to leave the
one more time for Atlanta this season. I get it. I get where you're going.
There you go. Yeah, get out your whiteboard. Oh, hey, thank you, Boji Joe. I like that. All right. Well, then, that'll do it. Man, that was a super speedway-esque type of a show. You got to love it. Sansa Mitch saying Cody Madoff. Absolutely love it. You got to join the Discord. You're missing out on life if you haven't already.
You do. Ash checking into Xfinity and truck outrights on seasons of Bovada. Hill and Heim are favorites. Are we surprised?
Nope.
We will be back to talk about that tomorrow, Rod. Xfinity at Atlanta. So we'll be talking about super speedway drafting racing there. But the truck series returning to Lime Rock Park. So that'll be some left and rights road course talk. So a little bit different for that one. But we'll be back to talk about both of those tomorrow. Make sure you go back, listen to the episode we did earlier this evening. It'll be, the episode before this in your podcast feed, or it's over on the YouTube as well. We break down the tournament, give out all our picks for the first round, kind of cover bets on it, all that stuff in general sense. Also talk about our contest. So make sure you submit your bracket. Just got to take a picture of your bracket, whether it's a screenshot, a picture, if you want to write it down, whatever. Submit that at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NASCAR to get in those entries. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Indeed.
Yeah, and as Rod's about to ask me, you can follow me on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff over there, Rod. There is an exhausting amount of things over there, so check it out. See you guys tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Laura, I saw the invitation to Sonoma. If you make it out there, I will most certainly enjoy meeting you and that fifth wheeler as well. All right. Like I said, love all of you. We'll see you guys tomorrow with our Xfinity and truck picks, and then later on in the week for DFS. So until then, make sure you catch up on all your favorite back episodes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Do all the great things to keep this show afloat. See you tomorrow. Until then, let's go racing and let it ride.